From the F3 Nation podcast studios.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
This is the COT podcast, connecting the packs of F3 Nation through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Andrew Maggio, 35, wire biter.
Mike Kirkos, 35, Saganaki.
Huckleberry, 40, Rep Sleepy.
Peter Ranky, 63, Bambi.
COT podcast starts right now.
Shut up and sit down.
And welcome back to the Circle of Trust podcast. Today is June 6th, 2025. Today, I'm Huckleberry, the head of culture for F3 Nation. Today with me, I have Lube. Is that right? I knew that.
That's right.
Shane Russell, hospital name out of, and Lube, I'm going to let you take over and introduce yourself.
Got it. Lube, 48. Screwed that up. Shane Russell, 48 Lube out of F3 St. Louis in the Gateway Mega Region. I was EH by Rhonda a little over 5 years ago. It was March 6, 2020, just before the world locked down for a few weeks.
Did you start and then it stopped?
Yeah, I probably got about 3 or 4 beatdowns in before we went virtual. You know, queued my first beatdown virtually. Which if you know what Dr. W's are, trying to queue that virtually, for your VQ, that was a good time, good memory.
I love it. And F3 is a small world. This is, I think, the third or fourth chance I've gotten to work with Lube on a couple different things. And that's what I love about F3 is you end up meeting these guys, and somehow you keep meeting them. You keep running into them again and again. And today is not going to be an exception. From the nation, got a couple things I want to talk about. The Go Ruck. We have, and I guess you guys can see where I am. I am here at AO called Warhorse. I take that back. It's called Iron Mountain. They have some name changes. That is officially the Iron Mountain. Not much of a mountain, but that is Iron Mountain. That's where I'm at, out in Middleton, Idaho, working on that concentric piece. My kids got a baseball tournament about a half mile that way, and we're out here all day. But F3 can go anywhere, anytime. And to help us with that is I got my GR1. There it is. It's got the weight in it. Got my new patch. If you haven't gotten the new leather patch, those things are amazing. Got my what's it called, a wire dop. Handles all my stuff. Thank you, Go Ruck. I'm not getting any money on a sponsored. I just really love Go Ruck. Appreciate them. But the code we have on there, check Slack, check your email. We used to have a quarterly code. We're having a little issues with that. I think you may have seen that. We now may be scaling back to a monthly code, but you should always have access to that. Make sure you use that affiliate link and that code. Get you the patch. Get you a pretty good discount. I can't remember what it is. Art of Manliness podcast. I'll stop talking about it when people stop talking to me about it. Today, somebody said, yeah, had another F&G. Do that Art of Manliness podcast. Keep sharing that. Dark Helmet, amazing job. Coming up in June, we have a Freedom Ops event in Seattle, June 20th through 22nd. You ever done a Go Ruck Freedom Ops event yet, Lube?
I have. Our first one in St. Louis, I did back in 2021.
Nice. June is mental health month. Y'all doing anything in St. Louis for men's health? Not mental. I said in mental health again.
I know I've seen some things in our.
Health.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of mumble chatter in our Slack about different things the guys are doing, stepping up and doing for sure.
Nice. And June 6th, tomorrow, is D-Day anniversary, and I'm queuing that. I love to make this. Comes out from my buddy Tater. Get them dirty. Get them sandy for 45 minutes, make them miserable. And so that's what we have on tap for tomorrow. And Father's Day coming up. You ever do anything huge for Father's Day?
I do have 5 kids, so yeah, it's always a big day for us. But yeah, I should drag them outside and make them do a beat down on Sunday with me.
I love it. Yeah, it's your day. You do every day. Guys, just remember self-care. This is our month. Right. Get those checkups, get those dental cleanings, get those dermatologist screenings. Anything you haven't done, talk to the guys. Just take care of yourself. That's just our reminder. I know we do, but let's talk about it too. All right. I have worked with Lube on a couple occasions. I know last year, and we were just talking about how quickly this has come up, but it's coming up again. The human trafficking campaign. And Lube, I'm going to let you just take over and tell us everything.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of guys out there listening maybe caught a glimpse of it through the $10,000 grant that we won. Man, that's a little over a year and a half ago, back in 23.
The foundation, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. The foundation was offering out a $10,000 grant that we won. And we used those funds to last year to replicate an event that we've been doing here. This is going to be our 6th annual coming up. We started this event in 2020, in July of 2020, to raise awareness about an organization called the Covering House, which I had been aware of before this. And a gentleman who was working for them reached out in that summer. Obviously, you guys know a lot of things were canceled. So a lot of their big fundraisers, they weren't allowed to do. So he reached out to ask if I would help him put together a virtual 5K with him. And I said, buddy, that's a terrible idea. Why don't you come out to an F3 workout, this group I just started working out with, and let's figure out something better. And so Kevin came out and became mother-in-law, and we started brainstorming about how we can, turn, with the idea of a virtual 5K into something more. How do we raise more awareness? How do we maybe include people that hate running, and include cyclists and ruckers? That's the idea. Kind of spawned into this plan of drawing it out over a week and seeing how many miles we can log, regardless of how you log those miles. And so we gave ourselves about 9 weeks to figure it out and put it together. And it turned out we ended up having 470 participants signed up. We logged over 12,000 miles and ended up raising $75,000. So it took off. I think, yeah, it was a fun event. I think a big reason it took off is that year, obviously, a lot of people were bored, right? Didn't have a lot to do. We were only at the time a 5 AO region, so we weren't, some big mega region. And so the ability for us to do that, we invited a lot of people into the conversation. We realized quickly, like, this needs to be more about awareness than raising funds. But the more we talked about it with people, the more we explained who the Covering House is, 2 things happened. One, you realize quickly that people don't really realize how big of an issue human trafficking is in your backyard until you start asking questions, until you start hearing stories, until you meet the detectives on the front line of it, and of course these organizations that are cleaning up the mess left behind. And so we realized pretty quickly, like, hey, this is, I think when we made the shirts, I put first annual on it, knowing that we had something special.
I love it.
And so we came back out the next year and repeated. So yeah, this will be our 6th annual coming. In the last 5 years, we've logged over 100,000 miles together. We've had almost 3,900 participants, and we've raised over $600,000 for the Covering House. So, the grant that we chased after and won was more about how do we replicate what we've done? How do we help other regions replicate this? Because this issue is everywhere, right? Everybody listen to this podcast. Yeah. It's an issue in your backyard. It's not, as much as Sound of Freedom was a story that needed to be told and based on, true individuals. That's not most of these kids and young women and boys that are getting wrapped up into it. These are mostly people from our communities. They're not being shipped across the border. It's kids that look like yours, that probably go to school with yours, that are getting wrapped up in it. So there's some great organizations out there. I know F3, some F3 guys have done some great work with other organizations that do some global impact. This specifically is more about helping F3 regions find local organizations like you guys did in Boise. The organization you guys partnered with last year is in your backyard and people in your community, and that's what it's about. So last year, I want to give the Boise guys some props too. 2 years ago, they logged a ton of miles for the Covering House here in St. Louis, and raised a bunch of money as well. So it's pretty.
We are still real mad about that event because we were riding bikes at like midnight and we were going to take the lead, and somebody, you know how that is, how those online competitions work. We're going to get mad about something. So,
I think you guys got a little bent out of shape about somebody counting their dirt bike miles.
We did. I know there's a rule in
there. Yeah,
there's a general rule in F3. If you're mad about something, then it's probably stupid. And we were mad, and it was dumb. Yep, that fit the bill. But I love that.
We were able to take that passion. Yeah,
I love that.
No,
I
sir, go
think
ahead.
2 years ago, I think the focus was on St. Louis, but the following year, you did a great job with making us take ownership of what's going on in our community, and I think that was a real big push, and that was a kind of a hard obstacle to go over. We had one guy, Gas Man, step up and kind of really take that under his wing. So I'd imagine you're looking for guys around the place just to take ownership of taking
Yeah,
charge of this in their local area.
for sure. I mean, I can help set it up on a tee, with helping with the event site that we use and replicating all that. I can help with communicating, details to the organizations, but ultimately it's really about, a core group of guys that maybe this tugs at your heart, to step up and say, hey, we want to make an impact here. And we did that with 31 different events last year, in addition to ours, 31 first annual events,
That's incredible.
that kicked up. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. As far as the impact across all those events, we end up having almost 3,700 participants across those 32 events. We logged 78,000 miles together all the same week, and the campaign raised $345,000, and all of that, all those funds went directly to the organizations through the event site. All of the funds go to the individual organizations that these regions are supporting. F3 Gateway doesn't touch a dime of it. Aside from that grant that we won, and we were able to use that to help minimize the cost of each of these take off as well. So
That's phenomenal.
we already have, yeah, we already have some new Nashville is stepping up this year for first annual. Still waiting for Gasman to reply to an email, but I assume you guys are in this year too. But
I will text him right now.
a little call out. That's right. But yeah, we've got most of the 31 new events last year coming back this year to repeat. Just starting to have those conversations now. We've got 4 months from today when it kicks off. It's October 5th through the 11th. And again, this is not just an F3 participant opportunity. This is an opportunity for F3 men to step up and introduce their friends and family to whatever organization that you guys are supporting in your city, and to really tell their story. In fact, we just revised our homepage of the event site to remove some of the F3 lingo,
Yeah.
to remove the logo. Right? We don't want it to be about F3 even. We want it to be about about the Covering House and what they're doing. It's really them that are doing the hard work, right? This is a pretty
Thank
easy
you.
lift.
I love the way you said that because F3 is not here to it's here to empower you, to here to give you tools. It's here to help you do your thing out there. It's you guys are making the impact. It's nothing we're doing on our level that's super tremendous. The impact that you guys are doing, yeah, we're gonna support that tremendously. So thank you. Yeah, reach more people, and that's our goal. Thank you
Absolutely.
for sure. What's the timeline?
So the timeline, it is, we got 4 months before the actual event kicks off and we start logging miles. Between now and then, it's all about, having conversations about, the organization that let's say you're a new region that didn't participate last year, developing that relationship, which I know some guys already have with those organizations, helping tell the story about what we've been doing here and what we're trying to replicate. Really just building that bridge between organizations that are typically run by women. A lot of times they're victims and survivors themselves of trafficking. And a lot of times the people that run, not just run them, but work there, are women as well. These organizations are always looking for men to step up and be a part of the solution, right? To be a part of pushing back the darkness. They're always looking for men to do that. And I mean, I don't know what better organization to step up and fill that gap. So,
I never thought of that
and so,
about that with the dynamic of women who are former victims have such
yeah.
advocacy that they're now stepping up into that arena. And wow, I never thought of it that way. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and if you want to hear the impact that it's had here, we'll share some links. But the founder of the Covering House put together a little video last year about what the impact has really been. She doesn't talk about the money, although that's obviously a factor, right? It helps them operate. But what she talks about is the fact that now these young girls know that there's men out there who don't want anything from them, right? That
Dude.
aren't there to abuse them. So yeah, I was there when she was doing the video, and I got teary-eyed a little bit. Eyes were sweating. But that's the truth.
We've got an organization out here called Gym Friends, and it's for kids who kind of aged out of the adoption agency and they were never adopted. So they're just kind of kicked to the system. And this particular organization has purchased around 5 or 6 houses, I think. And I hate to misspeak, but it's all run by this young girl, 24 years old maybe, and because she was a kid who was never adopted. And we've certainly
Yeah.
taken that organization under our wing, but I get that heart. Oh my gosh, yes. And to know that, and let's be honest, the abuser was probably a man, and that is the where a lot of those, yeah. And so for men to step back up into that arena and help and support these terrible issues, it's important. And we are, like you said, the best of the best across the world, I believe. You show you show me a
Yeah.
better group, I'll leave this one and go to that one. That quick. It's that quick. I'm gone. There's a better group than this one. What? I didn't know that. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the
Yeah.
best one, and I love that you're challenging us all to step up across. And you said 33. You said 33 regions are doing this.
We had 32 total. So 31 first annual events last year joined ours.
Any
Yeah,
goals
and some of the
for?
coolest stories. I was just gonna say that some of the cool stories that I've heard, since last year is the relationships that continue, right? Just like with the Covering House here, when F3 guys when the Covering House needs to move furniture or, maybe, they need some help with something, who do they call, right? It's F3, and there's guys with trailers, and trucks moving stuff all the time for them. There's guys stepping up and doing other fundraisers and awareness events for them throughout the year as well. And I've heard that as well with other regions that stepped up last year. The guys down in northern Dallas, Fort Worth area, they they're working with an organization that takes in young men that are victims and survivors, and they're stepping up to become mentors for these young men, which is pretty awesome. And that's all because of this relationship that really kicked off last year, because of the event that they started. Pretty awesome to see, and those are the things that I really, that you can't, really measure. You can measure the miles, you can measure the funds, you can measure the participants, but it's the relationship and the impact that you make beyond those numbers that really is what's important. So
I love that. Any questions I should have asked that you're hoping I asked that I didn't ask?
yeah, you can head over to the campaign landing page that shows all of the cities that are involved. There's also a great video that Low Def created for us. He's out of F3 Soil, one of the Southern Illinois, just on the other side of the river from St. Louis. And he helped us create some videos. So you can go to that F3 Third, F33RD.org, and there's a video on there for the campaign and links to all of the events from last year. And we've got some editing to do on those and some to add. But and if you head over to the Covering House event, which is the first one on the list, of course, you can see that video from DD from the Covering House, which is pretty awesome as well. If you're wondering, where we came up with that name, I wish I remembered who it was who coined it, but the F33RD third. Obviously, it's a play on what our third F is and what is really what we should be doing is stepping up and impacting our community. But it also, the three R's are resist, renew, and reclaim. Resist complacency, renew hope, and reclaim life. Right. It's kind of our way of tying F3 together with the third F and what the mission of this campaign really is. So
I absolutely love that. I will put some contact information and a little bit more information in the description of this podcast and video if you're on YouTube.
Yep.
And that way, if not, Lube, I'm gonna do this a lot, so I would love for you to come back on. This isn't a one and done, and let's get back on here and talk about it whenever you have time. But while I got you on
Sure.
here, sometimes you guys like to know the sausage, how the sausage makes the term. But Lube is also an expansion queue, and don't let me mess this up. You go ahead.
Yes. I right after our event in 2020, EMO asked me to be the expansion queue in St. Louis, and I think we had opened another site, so we probably had 6 at the time. And I got to be a part of a team that we just exploded, and we had a lot of fun launching. I don't know how many sites we launched within the next let's say 12 months, but we're up to about 150 now in the St. Louis area. It's a really dense mega region, and we continue to starfish. I think we're up to like 15 regions in the St. Louis area, giving guys the opportunity to lead more proximal to where their AOs are, and that continues to help us grow as well. So my love for expansion runs pretty deep. A couple years ago, I was asked to help on the with the North Central sector with expansion requests. So that's about 10 states, 10 or 12 states. So when people reach out to F3 Nation about, hey, I heard this Art of Manly podcast. I've gotten a lot of emails this week. How can I bring this to my town? It's pretty cool to reach out and kind of explain, who we really are and what the real purpose is, right? It's not just a free workout. If you're listening to this, you already know that. Or it's a guy that, moves to a town without F3 and is hungry for it, misses it, and I get to help launch it. So with them. So, there's no travel involved. But here's the deal. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, on the North Central side. So I'd love if there's some packs out there. I've got a Geppetto in St. Louis that is eager to take my role. But I'd love to find a second PAX with a love for expansion, maybe up in the Ohio Valley, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, whatever, that might want to help up in that northern region of the North Central. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know. It's a good time. It's really cool to watch these guys step up and plan something new, and you get to help them kind of pull them along the way. So it's pretty fun.
And how much do we pay you to do all that? It's like tons of money, right?
I'm still waiting for my first check, brother. Yeah.
I'll tell you, getting to know these guys that work behind the scenes, and then there's sector queues and all sorts of folk, expansion queues, and needs to be mustard seeds and troubadours and all sorts of things. But the commonality with these guys is they don't have any extra time, more time than anybody else. These guys can't say no. They say yes to just about everything, and they figure it out. And then when you talk to them, you realize they're not just doing this. They're coaching their little league team. They're at the Sunday school. They are volunteering for everything they get, and they stay busy. So if you're one of those guys, don't wait on us to call you. You feel free to reach out to us and say, hey, I'm in the fight. I want to help, and I want to help this expansion. I think we keep talking about this in numbers of expansion. We need 2, 3, 4 more of these guys to step in here and just at some point we just wear each other out, to be honest with you. It's a lot coming in, and
gotta keep giving it away.
You got to, and don't get tired. And I love that what you said. I hear that a lot. In the beginning, it's fun. This is just fun. And it's hard to maintain that fun. At some point, the newness wears off, and it's not so much fun anymore, but the mission is still there. And so I love to continue with the fun, make sure that stays in there. But at the same time, at some point, we all have to, and I will at some point step out of this role, and a young guy is going to come in and do such a much better job than I've ever could imagine doing. And I'm enjoying this role now. I just know that's inevitable. It's inevitable, and we need guys to step up. So don't wait on us to ask you to step up. That doesn't need to happen. Feel free to just shoot me an email, shoot Lube an email. We'll put our contact down there.
For sure.
Really appreciate it.
I'm on the nation Slack. Slack. I think I'm still the only lube in the nation. So
I think you're right about that. I'm trying to think if I know any other lubes, and I don't think I know. I know plenty of other Huckleberries. I don't know any other lube or Dark Helmet. You guys have one of those few names that it's one and done, or Dread. We're not having any more, I guess. But,
that's right.
That's amazing. Brother, that's all I got for today. You got anything?
I think I'm good. Look forward to hearing from some of you gentlemen. Let's step up and keep this moving.
I love this. I can tell there's a delay between when I speak and then when you can finally hear it, and then you kick back. So I'm wondering how the software is going to do. I hope it turns out okay. Boys in Boston, one of my shield locks is sneaking up there Saturday. I think it's the Coliseum. Y'all give them hell. I appreciate that. Have fun with them.
Yeah.
And Lube, you have a great weekend, and let's stay in touch.
You too, brother.
All right, love you.
From the F3 Nation Podcast Studios.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
This is the COT Podcast, connecting the packs of F3 Nation through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Andrew Maggio, 35, Wirebiter.
Mike Kirkos 35, Saganaki. Huckleberry 40, Rep Sleepy. Rep Sleepy.
Peter Inky, 63, Bambi.
COT Podcast starts right now.
Shut up and sit down.